She wanna take control. She wanna take my love. I love how you fall. I can't
Hi, this is Lisa DeRoche. I'm here in place of Noah this week. I hope everybody's having a great week so far. I'm here with one of my good friends, Diana Ali, and as I told you a couple of days ago, I want to introduce you to some great people out there who are doing some great things. Let me introduce you to Diana Ali. How are you, Diana?
Fine, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what you do in your everyday life and let everyone in Noah's audience know who you are.
Okay, in my everyday life, I am a family resource coordinator and a parent advocate. I'm formerly was hired by Family Together of New York State.
Okay.
And right now I'm just advocating for my children and people and friends in my community.
What does an advocate do, a parent advocate? That's interesting.
Oh, a parent advocate is the voice of parents who really doesn't have the strength and the power to advocate for themselves. It could be from school, it could be anything that they're struggling with, housing, tapping into the system of care, where is the mental health system, it could be the criminal justice system. Once upon a time, I did work with the reentry program for WORC, which is Women Incarcerated Program, and I got a lot of knowledge being an intern for that program, but it went under because of the grants and the funds, which we don't really can sustain.
So if the funding's not available, then a lot of the programs disappear,
Yes,
which is not cool, but that's what happens.
So what I do now is at home, I meet a lot of parents and children that does not have the systems in place. At my children's school, there is like parents you meet outside and they're talking about they can't get services because it's either their income or they really don't know what's out there. So when I try to educate parents, being when I was working in the system of care, I learned a lot of the resources that we so much need in our day-to-day, daily basis. Simple things like a homeless person and losing their home, where to go, who to connect with, and if that door closes, where's a hierarchy going up.
How often is this happening in your experience, Diana?
My experience, I find every day you go to the grocery store, you go to the laundromat, you bump into people, they are crying about the children, the school not giving them the services, children who have special needs. My program I was working in before was children of special needs between the age of 6 and 21 who was not able to get services if they have ADD, ADHD, emotional.
What is ADD? Explain that just a little bit in case people don't know.
ADD is attention deficit disorder, where the information doesn't process well when you speak to them, a child or even an adult. So we need to get a special program put together for that child, and simple things as trying to get them which an IEP is individual plan for that child into the school.
Individual education plan, right?
Yes. And special education. Someone might not even have the knowledge of having their child having a problem.
Right. So one thing I do know is that there are a lot of services available within the school system that people may not even recognize that they have access to unless they ask questions of either the guidance counselor or, the principal or what have you. So in your case, you can help people come to these services.
Right. So I have two children, one who does not retain information too well, and a lot of families does not want to label a child, their child. So and they don't even want to accept that the child has some issues. So what I would do is like try to talk to the parent. As a parent, it's nothing wrong with having a child who has a disability, which we don't even use the word disability.
Right.
We try to say some special
Needs,
special needs, or the way before they used to call the children retarded. We don't even use that language,
That's right.
retardation or retarded. We just say, you know, they need some support.
Right.
Or that child who needs support, you have to like give them a smaller classroom. They have to get evaluated, they got to get assessed, and sit down and talk to that child and see where they fit in, because not everyone's brain is the same.
Right.
So parents, it's the hardest thing for a parent to make that decision of getting an assessment for their child.
Right.
Where I would now contact like the specialist, which is Long Island Advocacy Center, which is a center on Long Island. That,
and I'm sure they have them throughout, you know, the different cities.
well, if you are in a city, there is education advocates for the 5 boroughs.
Okay.
In Long Island, it's Long Island Advocacy Center, which is the center one number you would call, and they will get you a specialist pertaining to just education.
Okay.
They have lawyers, they have different people who are expertise. So I wouldn't try to take on that role. I would know
Sure.
exactly where to tap that
Refer
family
them.
into.
Okay.
If it was criminal justice, I would just know exactly where to send them. If it's a ticket or if it's anything else when it comes to
So
the court
different
system.
resources where
Yes.
they may run
You know.
into trouble that, you know, they might need some extra
Right.
attention or support with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Food pantries.
So one of the things I wanted to explore, Diana, was how you became a parent advocate and what was your experience that brought you to this place?
I guess because my mother was I was one of 7 children, and my sister, my oldest sister, when she went away to college, she was the golden child. It was not that my mom gave her enough. My sister was the golden child,
Right.
and she didn't have the tools to go away to college. She fell on her face, and she came back home, and they said she was depressed. She was 17. She's 53 years old now. She's still on medication. They did not know how to treat the depression, and she ended up becoming one of their studies. She ended up getting all kind of diseases because of the medication, and my mother did not know what was going on with her. If my mother knew more about mental health, she
She
would
could have
have gone
explored
with
it more
different.
and gone different angles.
Yes. And I was always curious because would they run in the family? I have myself 5 children, and I wanted to do some research. And as I started researching, I seen so many people, so many families, you know, from the Indian background does not accept mental illness. They don't want to accept it. They're not going to talk about it. It's taboo.
So it's a stigma, taboo.
You know, and I wanted to give that information to my community and other families, even people within my family, to teach them that, you know what, it's okay to be depressed, it's how you treat it,
Yes.
and the different types of depression there is out there. Getting that knowledge to bring back to the community and to other people I want to give that gift back. As I saw my children suffering, you know, with one thing or another, you know, I had to pinpoint, you know, what was it?
Right.
I want to be the one to change and make a difference. I recently, 2 years ago, lost my son. He was taken from me by serious homicide, and I wanted to change the world and do this in the memory of my son, because
What a great way to
Right.
memorialize him.
he said to me, "Mommy, you know what? Something is wrong with me. I don't know if I'm bipolar. I don't know if I'm depressed. You know, I'm talking about one thing and I jump into another and I wasn't focused." And he wanted to get a test because he was 26 at the time, but he just couldn't figure out where and part of the brain was working or wasn't working. And I think that everyone has something. It's just how we go about treating it. You know, we don't want to call it mental illness, but our mental wellness is what we have to look at.
Right. I like that term, mental wellness.
Yes.
Well, Diana, thank you so much for sharing such a personal story with us. I think everyone out there should be aware that, you know, mental wellness is all of our responsibility. You know, people do go through things. Sometimes it can be depression, sometimes it can be anxiety, or, you know, much worse than that, And we need to just know that there are resources out there that can help people in these positions. People like Diana who are there to help, and I'm sure there are other people in your community that you can consider. So thank you so much for telling your story. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to let everyone don't be ashamed of anything, because we all have something.
Right.
It's just we know when our bodies are not right, and just seek
Get
out
it checked
help.
out. Seek
Yes.
out help.
Yes.
So we'll end on that note, okay? Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you very much.